everybody. You just mentioned you had a beer.
Yeah,
What
I
what are you
do.
sipping on there?
I have a Berry Weiss because I don't like actual beer,
Berry
but
Weiss.
Berry
So,
Weisses are usually or Weisses are usually like shandies or sours, and that's one kind
okay.
of beer that I do like. I
Gotcha.
like some, but not most. Usually I
Gotcha.
drink cider.
I don't know why I've been craving this hard root beer that one of our
Ooh.
grocery stores has.
Is
My
it the Not Your Father's?
I don't think so,
Oh,
but I've
that
seen
one's
that
real
one
popular here.
very recently. But yeah, my roommate gets it all the time, and then just for some reason, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to get some.
Yeah, I
But I
just
have
had to
no
build an
alcohol.
IKEA dresser, so I was like, I need some alcohol.
I know
Needs to
that
happen.
feeling.
It's a big dresser.
For those of you who are on our Twitch stream or are watching this on YouTube, I have a little bit of a different thing going on in the background here. I have a new bookshelf back there that I put
Ooh.
together. It's one of those like 9 cube organizer things from Better Homes and Gardens. So now apparently I
Ooh.
have a better home.
Do you
So
have a better garden though?
well, no.
I think you need your money back if you don't. I
Yeah,
feel like it's supposed to
right?
give me both.
Yeah. Where's the garden? I thought this came with a garden.
It's supposed to where are the flowers? Why are they not here?
Yeah, so that's like step 1 for me to like update new stuff in the studio. If it sounds like it's more echoey in here, it's because there's not as much stuff in here now, so now I need
I
to,
noticed that.
yeah,
I
need
just
to
thought it was
deal
my
with
computer
that.
being weird.
No, so
Mhm.
I think on Monday I have some more lights coming. I have some LED rope lights that I'm gonna stick to the wall.
I
So
love rope
hopefully,
lights.
yeah,
They're so 90s. I had one growing up
have
like over
them.
my bed.
Well,
I just
it's not the Christmas lights. It's not like
No, it's like it comes in like a tube.
fairy lights. Yeah, there's that. It's it's not that version though. It's ones that can like stick to a wall or something. So
Oh.
I have some in my bedroom behind my TV and underneath my
Ooh.
bed and stuff. So it all lights up, fancy
Your bed
schmancy.
has undercarriage lights? That's so cool.
Yeah.
I bet all the ladies love that.
None of them have seen it.
It would at least get my attention.
Right?
You gotta be like, hey, I just met you, but did you know my bed has undercarriage lights?
Hey Alexa,
That'll work.
set
It'll
the
work for
mood.
sure. It'll be super into it.
Exactly. So we are here for episode 64 of the Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer. Joining me this week is Jess Beaver. How are you?
Hello. Good. I'm a little harried because I thought we were supposed to record at 6:30, but it was actually 6, and I built an entire like 6 drawer, like 5.5 foot long dresser today for my like I woke up and I went to IKEA and I bought the dresser, and then they didn't have it in the color that I wanted, so I
Oh
had to
man.
pick a different color. And then I got it. It's again like one of the packages that it comes in because it comes in three. One of them is 5.5 feet long. I am
Yeah.
5'4",
Yeah.
and like I got noodle arms. Actually, they're a little bit, but I got noodle arms. And so like I got it onto the cart all by myself, and I was like, yeah. And then I got to the checkout, and she's like, you've got two threes. Like I
Oh
had because
man.
it's 1, 2, and 3, and I had two of the same ones. So then I had to go back and I had to
Get the
switch it
other
out, and then I
one
went
and
up.
then yeah.
And then I had to get it into my car, which involved like putting the seats down. I drive an Outback, thank goodness, but I had to like put the seats down and like get in, push it in through the back and then get in through the front and pull it up. And like it was this whole thing. And then I was like, I'm fucking tired. And then I got home and I had to get it in the house. So I backed into my garage for I think the first time ever. Reverse is like not a good gear for me. Um, and so I managed to back into the garage and I didn't hit anything in the garage. And then I got them in the house and I didn't scratch our hardwood flooring and I didn't hurt myself. And then
Nice.
I took a half an hour break to just sit there and then I built it. And that's all I've done today, which sounds like a lot, but also it's not because I
See,
went to IKEA and then I built the thing I bought and that's it.
I almost did that stuff, except I just got mine on Amazon, so I had other people do the heavy lifting for me to get it to my
Ooh.
door, and then I was like, all right, I just have to push this thing upstairs.
See, I could pay for that, but I was like, one, I'm home today and I want a new dresser now because mine is
Yeah.
just like not big enough. And I was like, I don't want to pay for that when I could just do it myself and bring it home today because I am what some would call frugal and
Frugal.
others would call cheap sometimes. Cody's worse than me though.
That's what I am too. I mentioned to my roommate this past week that I hit a financial goal that I was like, I want to have this amount in my savings account. That was just like the next, like, I hope I can reach that, and I did
Mhm.
this month. And so yeah, I got to that. But she was like, you're so frugal. Oh, well, yeah, that's me.
Good to have a savings account in case everything goes to shit.
Exactly.
So,
Actually, this week I also did a like very adult thing. I guess 2 weeks ago I talked to my parents a bit about it, and they basically gave me the number of their financial planner. And I was like, I need to start a retirement fund because I am a hopeless millennial and I don't know what to do.
that is so adult.
Yeah.
You talk to a financial planner.
Um, it's actually like a lifelong family friend kind of thing, or I guess I knew them when I was a lot younger, and then they moved away, and now my parents are retired out in Wyoming, and they know this guy who's out in Montana, and so yeah, I was like, hey, you should talk to me about this stuff because I have a lot of money sitting in my savings account that's just sitting there, and it needs to be doing something better than that.
You're like, how about turning it into more?
Yeah. Let's start getting me some monies.
Good job.
Yeah. So I feel adult, and then funny enough, one of the first things that they start talking about this week on the Rooster Teeth podcast was starting a retirement fund, and they were like, "Yeah, you guys do it. It's important. Start in your teens if you can." Just
I
just
was like overdrafting in my teens. My parents got
right.
mad at me all the time because it was like I didn't have a real bank account. It was like connected to theirs or something, and they'd be like,
But like
"Jess, you need to stop this." And be like, "But the video game that I wanted came out, and I
I
thought I had enough money." Because that's what I sounded like as a kid.
it was $60, and apparently I only had 10.
Right? And that's exactly what it was. They'd be like, "You had $14 in your account." I'd be like, "I thought I had more than that." Like, I don't know what to tell you.
um, but no, because like I feel like most people who like don't have it through their employer won't start one until they're like, I don't know, mid 30s ish. I don't
Hmm.
know where I'm making up that number. That's just what I feel like.
Feels right.
Yeah, but like it's one of those things. If I put, for example, 10,000 into a retirement fund right now, that's good stuff. But if I had put just 1,000 into retirement when I was like 18, that's 10 years ago. I'm not sure what the interest would be, but I feel like that would be a good chunk of change.
Hmm.
You know, just to have that sitting there. So who knows?
Well, and
Do
yeah, like
adult stuff from time to time.
I have retirement through work, and like that was the first time I ever started one was when I got it through work. I was like, oh, I guess this is a thing I should do now because of a lot of adult things. Like fuck, I'm 23. I had to think about that. Sorry, I'm almost 24, but I'm 23,
I forget
and I
my
just
age
feel
too.
like with I feel like I shouldn't like I'm not old or anything. I know that, but I'm just like I don't what where am I this year? I don't know.
Yeah,
But like I feel like there are a lot of adult things that like I didn't think to start on my own or whatever, like a retirement fund and whatnot, because I'm like I'm not that old. Like I don't know, I'm
yeah.
not an adult.
Or
And
like,
then I'm like,
how the hell do I
oh,
invest? Like,
I yeah,
what does
like
that mean?
Cody does that, and I'm like maybe he's like you should maybe do that, and I'm like no, I'm not an adult. And I'm like, I'm 23 and I live in a house and like I have a job and I pay rent and I don't know
That's
what the
good enough for
definition of
me.
adult, but like I'm an adult and I I don't feel like it. And so I bet that's why like a lot of people my age aren't doing some things that they should because we don't
Yeah, it's
I just
not
don't think about it. I'm like I'm not that old.
easy.
I'm not ready for that yet. And before I know it, like I'm almost 24 and I feel like it wasn't long and there are going to be people older than me who are like shut up, like you're young. And I know that, but like feel like it wasn't that long ago that I was like just turning 21
Yeah,
or like
right.
just turning 18. Like those are vivid memories that were not that long ago and now suddenly I'm like the same age as like one of my aunts was when she got married, I think, and like older than one of my other aunts was when she got married. And like all of my friends are having kids, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened,
It hits you real fast.
but I'm an adult. I'm responsible for myself and my
So
cat.
we are going to have a bit of a truncated episode this week since we got started a little bit later. We're going to be talking a lot about the D23 news that has happened so far. I'm sure when Melissa gets back next week, she'll want to talk about all of that stuff as well. But we're gonna talk a whole bunch about Marvel stuff and all of that stuff. But first, I want to hear how your camping trip was. You went
Oh yeah, I
camping
was last
last
minute
week.
camping last week. Yeah, so that was kind of so it happened because my boyfriend Cody is really bad at telling me things. He thinks he's told me, but he didn't, and he's also really bad at forgetting things. So, um, I knew he was going camping last weekend, and I knew that I wasn't going to go because I am doing this really nerdy thing where I am in the band for a Star Wars play that
Hell
is
yeah!
outdoors in Seattle. We're doing like The Empire Strikes Back, but as a play.
Oh, nice.
And I play my saxophone in the band with my friends, and it's very nerdy. And I said the nerdiest thing I've ever said in I think my entire life. Somebody asked, yep, hmm play that one. Um, somebody asked, "Oh, do you know what Pathfinder is?" And I said, "I'm in a Star Wars band with the co-creator of Pathfinder," which is
You should
true.
tell Melissa that because I think she's playing Pathfinder with her family or
Oh,
with
that's
her
so fun.
brothers and stuff like that. And I think her character, oh, she's mentioned it before. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I think she's a droid. I think she's
Oh, that's
playing as a
fun.
droid, and I think like she had like a certain quirk that I don't remember. It just like here's a droid that is enamored with like antiques or some
Oh my God,
stupid
that's
thing
so
like that. So
cute.
yeah, when it finds like this is a wrench, but I have no idea what this wrench is,
Oh my God,
and
is
it's
it the
like
Arthur Weasley of droids?
sure. I don't know if that was her actual like thing, but yeah, she has
Mhm.
something like that. So you need to message her that and be like, I am in a
Yes.
Star Wars play with the co-creator of that game.
Yeah, he plays the guitar. He's really nice. He designed our band shirts. His
Nice.
name is James. He's great. The Star Wars play, just like a tiny itty bitty plug. It's the final weekend this weekend, but if you live in the Seattle, Washington area, it's at Dr. Blanche Levizo Park at 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. There's a hot dog guy who gets there at 4. The show's at 5. Hot dogs are at 4.
Hot dogs.
He's, oh my
I
God.
have a hot dog painting here that I did in college.
That came out of nowhere. You were ready with that. That was wild.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's really fun. So I'm doing this thing. So I was like, oh, I have that play. Like I can't just go camping. And so I was gonna stay home and Cody was gonna leave Thursday night after work. He took Friday off
Mhm.
and was gonna go camping. And I was like, okay, great. And then Wednesday night, he's got a friend from work over, and I find out that from the friend from work who casually mentioned, oh yeah, some of us have to work in the morning, Cody. And I was like, what? And Cody is like, oh yeah, I took tomorrow off. And I was like, what? Like, he's like, yeah, I told you like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, no, you didn't. And I was like, oh, I thought you were going to leave for camping after work and like maybe we'd see each other for a couple minutes since you're going to be gone till Sunday. And like, it'd be nice to see you because you're my boyfriend and I love you. And then it was kind of this whole thing where he's like, no, I swear I told you and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, can't you just knowing, having the day off, can't you just leave in the evening? Anyways, he's like, well, I was gonna hitch a ride with my parents, and like there's not that much space for cars because they've got their trailer, and his whole family goes, and one of his brothers has a boat. And so then like we're laying in bed Wednesday night, and I'm like, I'm just frustrated because like it wasn't communicated, and we've had this, it's a thing. I should have him carry around like post-it notes and write it down, and at the end of the day be like, okay, here's all my post-it notes for you, or something like that. um but he forgets to tell me stuff all the time, and so we're kind of having that discussion, and he's like, well, what if we left what if you left after work on Thursday, and I get off at 6:30? What if you left after work on Thursday and you came and you drove back Saturday morning? And it's like a place that's 3 hours away. I was like, okay, it's a lot of
Mhm.
driving, but like, okay. And he's like, okay, so I'll go with my parents. And I was like, no, you'll leave with me after work so that I'm not driving alone for 6 hours total that weekend. And he was like, oh yeah. And then I was like, why did we not think of this, like, I don't know, before Wednesday night? And Wednesday
Sounds
night we
like you
hadn't even
guys need
officially
a shared Google Calendar where you guys can just like
we
update your stuff.
that sounds like a really good idea. We've got a fridge calendar. Um,
Yeah.
but the funny thing is we hadn't even officially decided Wednesday night because my best friend was coming over for the weekend from almost Oregon.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, well, she's going to be here. And Cody's like, well, I don't know if you want to go because you sound like you are more focused on like how much effort it's going to be to get there. Because every time he would ask me again if I wanted to go, I would be like this close to being asleep. So I just sounded really irritated, and I decided Thursday morning in the shower before I left for work that I would go from work camping. It was really
There
fun,
you go.
but yeah,
My
not how I like to
pa-
plan things.
my parents got to test out their RV. They
Ooh.
have this RV that has been sitting in their driveway for like a year and a half, and they were finally like, we should actually like probably see if this thing works. And so they took it out and apparently ran out of water like that first day, because that was one of the things they didn't think of. Like, oh, I guess we should have like filled this up with water. So they
We're like
they
hooked up to a campsite that has running water.
yeah, um, which is something they were like, oh, I guess we didn't think of that. So they had to leave where they were camping to go, yeah, to a campsite that did have water, so that they could then go back to their other campsite and stuff like that. But they had a lot of fun with that. I don't
Yeah.
think I've been camping in almost 2 decades. I've been a couple times with my parents, but that
I'm
was it. And and that was when I was real young, and I'm not an outdoorsy person, so.
Yeah. Well, and neither am I, and I'm not a huge camper. It's actually Cody's family that sort of got me back into camping. And even when we do go camping, I have like a set of rules. I'm like, there are a couple of things that I need, otherwise, like, it's not happening because I will not have a good time and everyone will hate me. But so the last time before I met Cody, I had gone camping was in second grade. And then I met Cody, and in my freshman year of college, he turned 21, and
Mhm.
went camping for his birthday. And I
Nice.
went along. And I wasn't 21, and I was also like not a big drinker then because I was kind of like, well, like our college was a dry campus and my parents aren't big drinkers. So I was just kind of like, well, I don't know, but like it's his birthday, so we'll go.
We'll get to it when
And
we get to it.
yeah, he was like, "Yeah, we have a tent you can borrow. Just like bring a sleeping bag, and we'll bring like a mattress pad or something."
Mhm.
And my brother was a Boy Scout, so I was like, "Hey, can I borrow one of your sleeping bags and some of your mattress pads?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I borrowed them, and because his parents have an RV or a trailer, not an RV, they have a trailer, and so like they're all staying in the trailer, and I'm the only one in the tent, and I
Oh no.
even as an adult am a little bit afraid of the dark, which I know is ridiculous. I know it's like all in my head, but I
Mhm.
always like I am the kind of person where I'm like, what's out there? Is it like the chupacabra, and then I'm like, I don't believe in the
The
chupacabra, but my brain is
chupacabra.
telling me the chupacabra is right outside my tent. Is basically how it goes. And so they're like, here, take the chocolate lab, who's like 70 pounds or whatever, probably more. I don't actually know how much Harley weighs. They're like, take the chocolate lab who gets overexcited about other dogs and he'll sleep with you. And it was really windy that night, so it was really loud, and I was cold because I didn't have enough blankets, and I could feel like the rocks under me, even with the mattress pads, and
Yeah,
Harley
that's the
wouldn't stop
worst.
freaking out about the wind. And so Cody came out at like 4 or 5 in the morning to like let the dog out, and he's like, "Hey babe, how are you?" And I just started crying because I
Oh
had gotten like
no.
2 hours of sleep. Like I had not slept. And I was just like, I hate this. And then they like let me into the trailer. I'm like sniffling, and they like let me on one of the beds, and I slept for so long. And I was like, oh my God, his family who like loves to camp is gonna hate me, and they're gonna be like, oh my God, she like can't handle her shit. And luckily they like me, but
Who's this
it was
city
it
slicker
was
that he
rough.
that she's
But
That's
now
funny.
that I drink, it's a lot more fun because we just sit around and do nothing and drink and go out on the boat or on floaties.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's
you have to have some good
yeah.
alcohol and s'mores to make it all good.
We also have a good air mattress now, so
Oh,
that makes a
nice.
huge
That helps a lot
difference.
too. Well, let's move on to some of this D23 news. I guess before even that, let's talk about this whole Sony Marvel thing fighting for Spider-Man. What the
Oh my
hell?
gosh. Yeah, I'm so sad that it's happening, but I'm also mad at all the people who are getting pissed off at Sony. I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to be
It's
getting pissed off at
You
Disney.
need to get pissed off at both of them. It's corporate bickering. They all just
hmm
want more money. Fuck
Exactly.
them.
And Disney's the last people that need it. Like they've basically got a monopoly, and they were getting my roommate and I talked about this. They were getting all merchandise sales and 5% of the sales from the first day the movies were in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Sony was getting everything else. And Disney wanted it to be 50-50 across the board. And it's like,
Well,
you're already getting so much.
I, there was a lot of conflicting information that I saw flying around. Because yeah, there is that like 5% of the first day thing,
hmm
uh, and then I think a lot of people took that to mean that they were getting 5% of the profits total of just
hmm
whatever the movie makes, and so they were wanting to bump that up to 50-50.
hmm
But I don't think that was it, and I think the 50-50 thing was more of a like financing the actual movie. Like, hey, if like we'll go in 50 if you go in 50 on financing
hmm
these things. So I don't know exactly what was up with that, but then yeah, of course, we all instantly blame Sony, who it makes
Because
sense to
they're
be
the ones who
like,
backed out.
yeah, it makes sense for them to be like, hey, I think we've kind of gotten on our feet now. We're good. We don't need you
hmm
guys. We'll just go off on our own way.
Well,
Um,
and no matter what it is, of 5% to 50%, that's a huge jump.
yeah.
I mean, so Sony could have negotiated and been like, okay, maybe not 50, but maybe like 10%. Maybe they could have settled
So
on something.
apparently they've been talking for months, and that was
Ah.
also something that I had seen of like, oh, this is just the first thing, and then I heard ones like, no, they've been talking for months. So, and that's always a bad thing when it's like, this has been going on for a while and we're just hearing about it now. uh
hmm
so but then Sony came out and was basically like, no, this was actually Kevin Feige. Like, they were the ones that did, like, we would love to work something out, but he's too busy. And then
Oh.
I saw the meme of the Spider-Man looking at Spider-Man. It's you, right? It's you.
I
um,
just,
it's
I
a
feel
a
like
weird situation.
yeah, and Disney is such a monopoly that I'm kind of like, okay, like they don't need more things. But the only thing I don't want is for Sony to turn around and be like, let's cast a new Spider-Man. I'm like, we found a good one. Can we just keep him? Can we just keep him
I
for a little bit,
Yeah,
please?
I don't think they would do that unless they killed him off in the third film and was like, all right, we're going all in on Miles.
Yeah, that I
Here we
would be
go.
okay with.
But yeah, there hasn't been because from what I remember from the original deal, it was that it like, in short, it was basically like, hey, we'll let Marvel use Spider-Man for the Avengers films and the MCU stuff in return for like helping out the creative side of our films. So it makes sense for me for Sony to be like hey, we've found our feet. You've laid down the foundation. We can continue it from here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Disney has also proven themselves of like, hey, we know how to do this. We deserve a little bit more than what we're getting from this. So it's a weird situation all around. Melissa actually posted a video in our Discord channel saying that Spider-Man was back in the MCU. And their source was a YouTube video. Both the website and the YouTube channel were sites I have never heard of, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong information, but no one else has been reporting this, that they've come to a deal. So I was like, I don't know how true that is. But it's D23 happening this weekend right now as we speak. And a lot of their marketing has Spider-Man on it. They just basically set Spider-Man up to be like the new heart of the MCU in Phase 4 and beyond. Really, so like, something else that was going around was this idea of this whole like 50-50 thing, whatever it was. That was Marvel shooting high, and it was a thing that was, of course, it would get turned down. And then rumor has it that Disney then leaked it, that this whole thing was happening because, of course, fan outrage would go a long way to help pressure Sony into being like, all right, well, how about this instead? So like, maybe it's this thing of like, they were really shooting for 30, but they said 50, so that, like, no, well, how about this? And they're like, good, yeah, that's what we
and maybe
want.
They just didn't expect Sony to be like, no, we're done. Yeah, and the thing is, in the 5 seconds I just took to look on the internet, I just saw something. I haven't seen anything that says like he's back, but I saw something that said apparently Sony was willing to give 25%, which I feel like is a decent amount. And so it's like, I don't know. Also, a lot of the actors that they're asking about it, because it is D23, are like, I'm hopeful that things will work out. So I wonder if if whoever initially reported it was like, oh my God, Spidey's out of the MCU because they can't reach an agreement. And they're like, hold on, we're still working on this. That's people are so freaked out about Spidey being gone.
Kind of what I'm gathering. Like, they could still keep talking. Something still could happen from this. And they could announce it here at D23. I think that would be an amazing time to be like, hey guys, we figured it out. Here's what's happening, right?
Friendship wins.
So that would be fantastic if they got that set up. But speaking of more Marvel stuff, they have announced at least three new Marvel-related. I'm assuming these ones are tied into the MCU, but 3 more Disney Plus series. They have announced Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk.
I don't know what Moon Knight is, but I'm excited for them.
Moon Knight is, think of Batman, but he's actually crazy. He was a mercenary who got betrayed, and when he basically got shot and killed and died while he was out on a mission, and he died at the foot of an Egyptian statue for this god Kenoshu, and the god basically resurrected him, but gave him multiple personalities. So he is literally insane.
Wow, all right.
And yeah, like has all these different personalities, and instead of being in all black, he wears all white. And yeah, he's a street level character that I think would be fantastic in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
There was a
Sounds
scene
interesting.
from one of his comics. I want to say back. I think it was Declan Shelby working on it and Warren Ellis. They had a good run, but then I think Brian Michael Bendis also had a run on the character too. And there's a scene in there where they're talking to some reporter, and the reporter was like, "Yeah, there was this one time where he was standing out in the middle of an intersection fighting with Captain America and Spider-Man, except neither of them were there." So he's just like imagining this whole fight scene and stuff like
So it's
that.
just one dude in the
Yeah,
intersection. All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting character to take on the whole like mental illness thing, and what is real
Yeah.
and what's not, and what's actually happening here. So hopefully that'll be good stuff.
Hopefully they do a good job.
They also mentioned that Kit Harington has been cast as something in the MCU, but they haven't said what yet. All right, at
You
least at the
froze, and I missed it.
I froze.
Yeah, something's in the MCU and I missed it, and I don't actually know because I'm not up on all the news.
Well, you'll never know now. No,
No!
they announced that Kit Harington from Game
Oh.
of Thrones has been cast as something in the MCU, but we don't know what yet. With the announcement of this new Moon Knight series, they're maybe thinking that, but who knows?
I do know they announced a Jeff Goldblum show.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called. It's like not related to anything. It's just his own show, and
I think
I'm
it's The World According to Jeff Goldblum, I think is the
something
name.
like that.
Something like that. I
I'm
think they
super
put
about
a
it.
trailer out.
I'm
So,
excited.
There's been a couple more things. I think they announced that Darcy from Thor 2 is going to be returning in WandaVision, as well as the FBI agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I am happy about both of those because they are some of my favorite side characters.
Speaking of Thor, I don't know if you saw, but they were like, "Oh, Thor: Love and Thunder is already written," and Taika retweeted. He's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of myself. I've got the title page written."
Yeah.
And it's just like I love him so much. Also, if we have time, I have to tell everybody about the new show that he produces that I started. It's not new; it's new to me, but I
What's
watched it in a
what's
day.
what's the show?
It's What We Do in the Shadows. It's a mockumentary. A
I was gonna say I've
mockumentary, not
heard of
documentary,
that.
mockumentary about vampires.
Is that based off of a book or anything, or is it
I think there's a movie.
original?
I'm not allowed to watch the movie without my best friend. He said so, but he gave me permission to watch the TV show, and I binge watched it an entire day while I was sick.
Good stuff.
It's amazing.
I've heard the name before, and I think I saw an image or two, but I haven't seen anything else besides that. So
He
good
has
stuff.
a cameo in it, but I think he's like in the movie, but he co-produces the show and I think writes for it along with one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords.
Okay.
And it is some of the funniest shit I have ever seen. Because it's not like I was trying to describe it to one of my coworkers. She's like, "Are these real people that think they're vampires?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no. It's a mockumentary, so similar to like The Office and Parks and Rec, but it's vampires and they've got like human
That's awesome.
familiars and it's very good." And we were talking about Taika Waititi, and it's very
Is
good. Go watch it.
Where can people find that? Is it on Netflix or something? Hulu.
And I
You
think
said.
maybe is there, and I don't know. I'm not allowed to watch.
Gotcha.
because the show is good.
So last thing I kind of want to say about the Marvel stuff is actually not really about the Marvel stuff, but literally like 15-20 minutes after the whole like Spider-Man might be out of the MCU, all of that stuff, Sony and Disney can't come to an agreement, the world is ending, oh my god. Shortly after that they were like, hey, Matrix 4 is a real thing.
I forgot about that already, but I'm
so I was like, what if? All right, tinfoil hat, red string. Like all right, what if they announced Matrix 4 shortly after this whole Spider-Man debacle? Because this is all fake. What if we're in the Matrix and they're just fucking
I was gonna say, what if they released it not because we're in the Matrix, but as a marketing tool for the Matrix?
Right.
And then like they'll come out and they'll be like, JK, Spider-Man's totally in it, and we would never get rid of him. And they're like, we just wanted to Matrix you.
The Matrix.
It is now.
Matrix 4 is all about writing Spider-Man 3.
The entire thing. I love Keanu Reeves. He's like Hollywood's golden boy right now because he seems like a very pure
a resurgence,
being.
yeah.
And so I'm just excited. I like him. He's great.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Star Wars news, Sam has already mentioned it in the chat, but season 7 of the Clone Wars comes out this February. I'm so excited.
It's on my list to watch.
Oh my god!
I told Cody I'd watch the Clone Wars if he watches The Office with me, and
it's so
it's
good.
on the list.
What are you waiting for?
I don't know, because I told him yes. I said okay, and we haven't watched it yet.
Well, you guys will get there soon. I'm excited for that.
It might not be on Netflix anymore. That might be the issue. I think we tried to watch it and it was gone.
You might be right.
Which makes sense because they're pulling everything. So that might be because he watched it on Netflix. Like we don't actually have it.
This fall, you'll be able to watch all 6 seasons and the movie. Unlike Community, unfortunately. And then season 7 comes out in February.
I'll catch up before February for sure, because I've heard it's really good. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think
you have Star Wars paraphernalia behind you on the wall. You need to make it a thing.
Well, it's also a shared nerd room. Yeah, I like Star Wars. I'm all about it. I'm the one in a Star Wars band, but like I'm the only one who plays an instrument.
That's right. You're in a fucking Star Wars play.
I know. And the thing is, I had this huge secret when I was working at the comic shop, and nobody found out until the new Star Wars came out. But the big secret was that until the new Star Wars was going to come out, I had never seen Star Wars. And I said something because my boss was like, so we're all going to get tickets and we're going to go. And I told somebody, I was like, so please don't fire me, but and I'll watch them, but I haven't seen Star Wars. And he was like, what? Everything stopped.
That's amazing.
And so she's a really great boss, and she gets everybody Christmas gifts. And my Christmas gift that year was a Star Wars shirt to wear to the movie. It was real cute.
That's fantastic.
So I was kind of late to the whole Star Wars thing, but I like it. It's good.
Cool. Well, they also released the first poster and the first trailer for The Mandalorian, which is the Star Wars Disney Plus series. And I watched the trailer for The Mandalorian before we went live here. It looks awesome. I love it. It looks sweet. It looks exactly like Star Wars. I don't think they're pulling punches with this. I guess I might not be up to date on all of the news on The Mandalorian. I don't know if we know who is the Mandalorian. Which Mandalorian that is specifically?
Pedro Pascal.
Well, that's the actor, but not the character?
Oh, right. We don't know which one. Well, I also saw something, I don't remember who retweeted it or whatever, but it was on my social media. It said Boba Fett's alive, and I don't know if it was
I think I saw something like that too.
An official thing, or if it was just one of my friends being like, it's gotta be Boba Fett.
Who knows?
Cody is very, very excited for The Mandalorian because when they first announced that they were going to do The Mandalorian, they were like, "Oh, and Taika Waititi is in it as like the OG assassin droid." And my roommate says that, and Cody's like, "IG-88," and I'm like, "Who?" And my roommate's like, "I think I know
Hell
who that
yeah,
is."
meat
And
bags.
Cody just loses his mind over IG-88. I'm like, "This is the first time I've heard of IG-88. I don't know who the hell this is."
I've
Like,
heard
I
the
don't know.
name. I've heard he's super sarcastic and he hates humans and he
Well, mhm. So
calls them all
then
meat bags and stuff. But that's it. That's all I
yeah.
know.
So my boyfriend's really excited because like OG Assassin Droid and Taika Waititi and anything is amazing. And then it comes out today with the teaser and everything. He's not IG-88. He's IG-11. I also don't know who that is, but it's
Great, great,
apparently a
great,
very big
great,
deal.
great, great grandfather of IG-88.
But so I don't know like how many people are going to be like upset about like I feel like it might be a bit of a thing that they were like, "Oh, the original assassin droid." And I
Well,
guess people have a different interpretation of who that
I
is.
don't know when IG-88 is running around, or if he's even in canon anymore.
He's
This might be a
in the
different time period.
he's in the Empire Strikes Back. I know this because he's in our play and it's a like silver shirt and his head is a spray painted plastic water bottle that's silver and my boyfriend knew immediately who it was. He's like, "That's IG-88." And I was like, "How did it's a water bottle on a stick with a shirt and PVC pipe arms." He's like, "No, but it's IG-88." And he was dead right. He hangs out with it's like there's the way we do the show, there's a scene with because it's the carbonite freezing episode,
Uh-huh.
right? And so like there's Boba Fett and everything, and so there's
I
like a
saw some
tiny
more
group of
carbonite in the trailer
bounty hunters. Yeah.
for this
Oh, did
thing.
we?
We did. We
Oh,
did. There's so you guys should go watch the trailer if you haven't yet. I am about to mention one quick thing that happens. It's not much of a spoiler. It's just something that I thought was neat that was in there. But you guys should go check it out before I mention it. Um, so there's this moment in the trailer where some action starts, and this guy is running like out of like a seedy little bar, like the cantina style stuff, and I forget if he has like a whip or a chain or something that he uses, but he trips the guy and pulls him back at the same time pulling out his blaster to shoot the like electronic lock on the door, so the door shuts as he's being pulled back in the door, and it cuts off his head. And I was like, "Oh shit, that
oh!
was sweet. That was so good."
This show might be more than PG-13.
Who
Maybe.
knows? Yeah,
We'll
might
find
be
out.
TV-14. Dun dun
Ooh.
dun. Getting edgy
We're
there.
really funny sometimes. Not all of the time, but sometimes.
Sometimes I think I'm funny. But yeah,
I
so
think I'm funny all the time.
that
It's just that
looks
nobody else
really
does.
good. I also saw a timeline like with the MCU put out, but they put out an updated timeline thing for all the Star Wars stuff. All the
Ooh.
Star Wars movies and shows that are out there and when they take place. So yeah, good stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. I'm sure there has been more stuff.
I
Yes.
thought you were saving the best for last, but
What
now it sounds
did
like
I
you're not going to talk about it.
did I miss
Maybe
something?
you missed it. It's official. This is what I think is the best. It is official that Ewan McGregor
Oh
is
yes,
back
yes,
as
that I
Obi-Wan
did see.
for a Disney Plus series. Like I think he gets his own series.
I'm stoked
It's
about
gonna be
that. That's
great.
gonna be fantastic.
I mean, like we kind of knew it was gonna happen, but it was one of those things where I feel like everybody was willing to it to happen, and they were like, "Wouldn't it be great if like Ewan McGregor came back as Obi-Wan?" But it was like that never happens the way you want it to. It never,
Yeah.
ever, 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 ever happens.
What do you
And then he
think?
was in talks, and then it happened.
What do you think it's gonna be about? Just off the top of your head, what where do you think this show is gonna be taking place?
I think The only thing that I can think of, unless they like edit him, is I think it's gonna have to take place in between the prequels and the OG, because by the OG trilogy, like, he's old,
When
and
he's
Ewan McGregor still looks,
raising a young Luke.
yeah, and like Ewan McGregor looks real good, but I don't think he looks as young as he did in the prequels. I don't think there's any way to
Sure,
pull that off and say it's
sure,
that or before. So I think it's gotta be in between. What it'll
sure.
be on, I don't know, but
Well, well, I say we wrap things up there. This has been a truncated episode of the Captain's Log. Jess, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I always forget my Instagram name. Pretty sure it's
I'll
Akio Jess Beaver.
put it up here. It is well. So your Twitter is legend of Jess with underscores
Yep,
between both of those words there.
underscores on either side of. That's my Twitter, legend of Jess underscores on either side of. And I'm almost 90% sure that my Instagram is Akio Jess Beaver, and Beaver does not have an A in it. But I'm sure that Kyle puts stuff up afterwards, so you guys will know that.
Yeah, go. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Whatnauts on Twitter, so you guys can stay up to date with all of our shows for that. If you like what we do here, patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us. At the $1 tier, you can get access to the live streams of one of our other podcasts, the review show. We also put up episodes early at the $1 tier. At the $3 tier, we have some exclusive content. And coming up on this next month, we are going to be doing our first exclusive episode of the Captain's Log, in which we will be taking a personality test to find out which Sailor Scouts we are from Sailor Moon. So that's going to be fantastic.
I should probably like watch a little bit of Sailor Moon before that then, because I've never seen it. Or maybe
It's
I
a
should go into
classic.
it blind. Maybe it'll be more fun. I
There
don't
you
know.
go. Yeah, you're more than welcome to join us. I actually have not been like, hey, we haven't figured out when we're gonna record this yet, so you should join us too. But yeah, I think that'll be a lot of fun. Go to the whatnauts.com for more information. You guys can find all of our podcasts up there, as well as wherever you get your podcast. Just search the Whatnauts, and you will find them all there. That being said, let's get out of here. This is episode 64. We'll be back next week for episode 65. Adios. Thank you so much for checking out that wonderful episode of the Captain's Log. Go do all the doobly-doos. All of these things right here. Go subscribe to our channel. Go watch the video. It's right down here because we have tons of them that you guys can go watch. Let us know what you guys are most excited about from D23 down in the comments below. Yeah, I guess we will see you next week. I don't know what that face was, but